Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we're continuing our ongoing coverage of the war in the former state of Ethiopia. So it's been a while since we have covered what is happening in the former state of Ethiopia. Obviously, civil wars continue, both in Oromia and now we have seen the ongoing rebellion by Fano in Amhara, in the Amhara region. So what is happening? Well, obviously, we have reported in the past that there is now civil war in the Amhara region. Fano, among other militia groups, have rebelled against the Abiy loyalist forces who control the capital, Addis Ababa. The Abiy loyalist forces at one point desired that Fano integrate into the ENDF, the Ethiopian National Defense Forces, under the direct control of Abiy Ahmed. The Fano forces declined to do so and have rebelled. And this is what we are seeing in the ongoing war taking place in the Amhara region. Because Abiy loyalist forces have a fairly capable drone element deployed with its air force, it is very difficult for Amharan forces to seize control of towns and cities. So, for instance, within the last 48 hours, 24 hours, we have seen Amharan forces raid a prison in Waldea. We have seen a number of these actions by Fano forces and Amhara militia forces, attacking government sites, attacking government convoys, but they don't have the ability to gain control of some of the larger cities, such as Waldea. They can position and surround these cities, but entering these cities and staying in these cities result in almost an immediate operation by Abiy loyalist drone forces. And they have some very advanced drones, such as the Turkish TB2 drone. They have Chinese drones and even and some Iranian drones as well. The most effective are the Turkish TB2 drone firing the Mamel missile with a thermal barrack warhead. That is what concerns the Fano organization. When they take control of a town and they move forces into buildings or structures for any length of time, meaning a day or two, the Abiy loyalist forces identify that structure, and then they eventually call in a drone strike on those Fano forces. So that's what's essentially keeping Fano fighters from taking many of these cities or entering these cities for any period of time. Once those forces are identified, once the ENDF, once the Abiy loyalist forces identify where those Fano forces are, they come under these drone attacks. And these drone attacks have been incredibly lethal against these Amharan fighters. Now, we are also hearing that tensions are increasing between Eritrea and Abiy loyalist forces. Essentially, Abiy Ahmed would like the port city of Assab, this locale here. Now, it is highly unlikely the ENDF, Abiy loyalist forces, would be able to launch a military operation to take control of this town. This is what we're hearing, that a contingency plan is being made, is being prepared by Abiy loyalist forces to enter Eritrea and seize control of this port. The former state of Ethiopia is a landlocked, essentially city-state, based in Addis Ababa. giving itself a port other than the port that's being used by Abiy Ahmed, Djibouti. This would, again, give Abiy Ahmed access and have his own port. Now, the problem is geography. Geography. You essentially have the P7 highway, which converges into the A1 highway further south. If we go to, let's just go to Assab and let's head down the P7 until it turns into the A1 and look at the terrain. This is some of the most inhospitable terrain on the planet. No towns, very few towns, very little supply and logistical support. The Abiy loyalist forces have had tremendous issues in sustaining its forces in the field because of logistical issues. Entering Eritrea with just a complete lack of logistical support because of the inherent nature of this terrain would be incredibly difficult for the Abiy loyalist forces. And again, we can zoom in closer here and you can see just what I am talking about. Now we are actually in Ethiopia now. We've crossed over the Eritrean border. But you can see that, indeed, very difficult to amass forces. Essentially, it would be a column attack along a one-lane highway. The concept of these Abiy loyalist forces massing troops to the south and kind of the north of the Eritrean-Ethiopian border is just something they don't have the ability to do. It would essentially be a column operation moving up the A1 highway, crossing Eritrea, and moving towards Assab, while the Eritrean army obviously would be engaging the Abiy loyalist forces. Furthermore, we talked about earlier the drone capability of the Abiy loyalist forces. That drone capability would be negated because of lack of airfields in this area. Look, the Abiy loyalist forces are able to operate from Bahir Dar and other locales and operate these drones. They would not be able to do that in any operation against Eritrea. And the Eritreans have their own air force. How effective that air force would be in shooting down drones, difficult to say. But the simple fact that it would be difficult, given the distances between airfields and air bases in this area, would make it unlikely that the Abiy loyalist forces could effectively deploy its drones in this area. So we don't think and we don't believe at this point Abiy Ahmed is going to make the mistake of trying to attack Eritrea and seize control of Assad. We don't believe that is going to happen at this point. Right now, we believe he has his hands full with the civil war that is taking place in the Amhara region. Again, it continues with these hit-and-run attacks. The Oromo Liberation Army is still very much active in Oromia. And then obviously the situation in Tigray is not completely resolved. That could flare up at a moment's notice depending on what happens in the Amhara region. So we will continue to report. We will continue to document what is happening and watch this very, very closely. It is an incredibly chaotic situation that is difficult to obtain information on what's happening on the ground. Very difficult, given the natureship of the regime that is in Addis Ababa, Abiy Ahmed, and the restriction of any and all media coverage of what is happening in various areas. Again, very difficult. So we'll continue to report. Thanks for joining us. More to come very, very soon. As always, have a good day.